we're going camping in 3 days. I need to get a test drive in with it also a day before, so really I have like 2 days before it needs to be driving. So now we're just going to throw everything together and get everything on the trailer. We got windows, we got skylight, we got roof vent, we got back door, we got all the trailer wiring and lights, interior lights, exterior lights. There's a lot to do. So we'll just get started. So in the previous video, I went over the poor man's fiberglass install job, and you got to see pictures of the trailer completed. Those pictures were actually taken after our first trip out. I didn't get to film as much as I wanted to, since I only had about 3 days from painting it until when we needed to be on the road to our first campsite. So just after I finished the painting, I was able to maneuver the box back onto the trailer for the last time. I secured it to the frame with 1/4-inch carriage bolts. I think we used about 15 total, and they are countersunk into the floor. So just drilled the main hole for the shaft of the bolt, and then used a Forstner bit to drill out the countersink area for them. And then just in case I needed to remove the box from the trailer later on, I just filled those countersink holes with JB Weld so that we don't have to worry about the bolt spinning if we ever try to take the nuts off from the bottom side and we don't have access to the top side of the carriage bolt. Because once we've covered up with flooring, we're not going to be able to get to them. So after that, we can install the flooring, and the flooring I used is leftover engineered hardwood from someone's house install that I got for my favorite price, free. I just use an air nailer to fasten them to the floor, no glue or anything, just in case I have to take them up later. Alright, so I've got the last piece of flooring here, and because it's so short, you have to push down on it really hard. This stuff really is strong as it clamps itself together in the tongue and groove, so you got to push it together and hold it down. So I'm just smacking it forward to make sure it's fully seated, and then I'll clamp it. I know. And we'll just put a bunch of nails in it. What are you doing today?
I'm cleaning these windows. They're really gross. You can see here that, like, this is what I've cleaned, and that's what they are. That's nasty. How satisfying is that? Like, what? Clean. You never know, you know?
Alright, so we have our 3 trailer windows that we got from the junkyard. My wife spent some time cleaning them, and now they need to get painted black so we can put them in the trailer. Also we need to paint the door. But before I can paint this one, it needs some mounting holes drilled in it. I'm not really sure how this was meant to be mounted. I think there may have been an inner trim ring on this one. We currently don't have the trim ring, and also maybe it was mounted horizontally and then started leaking, so someone put some extra screw holes in the top here to like try to stop the leak. But we're just gonna flange mount it. So I need to drill holes around the whole perimeter so that we can flange mount it, and then we can paint it. Unfortunately, these aren't very lined up, so it's gonna bother me, but I'll do the best I can. So the older drain holes are right here because this window was meant to be mounted with this side up. So this is the bottom. There's a little drain hole right there. I just drilled 1, 2, 3 new drain holes in the bottom with the tiny drill bit, because this is our new bottom. And then I'm just gonna fill these with some paintable caulk. That way it can't fill up with water this way. Alright, so we're gonna put butyl tape on this thing before we install it. That's just this sticky stuff that's supposed to fill in any gaps and prevent water from coming in. And then when I'm putting this on, every time we're doing something with water, where water's gonna be, just think of how the water's gonna come down. So this is the top of the window. So if we put butyl tape on the side, and then we put butyl tape on the top, and we make a little slice there, then water could potentially get in there. So on this particular part, we're gonna just come across the top first, so that that whole top line is continuous, and the water, we're not introducing any sort of gap here where water could possibly get in. And then same on the sides, we're gonna go down the sides and have that line go straight down, so the water won't have a place to come in on the side. It would have to come in from the bottom, which is not gonna do because of gravity. So the last piece we'd put on would be the bottom piece. And I'm just assuming all of this because I don't think you should want it doubling up in the corners, like overlapping itself. That doesn't sound good. So just using common sense, this is what we're gonna do. Probably should have checked if this fits before I put the butyl tape on it, but because we added a bunch of thickness from the canvas and glue. Oh, we're good. For screws, we're using these Tex screws, TEKS. They're roofing, like for metal roofs, roofing screws, and they have a little EPDM rubber washer on them to seal. Don't know why other people don't use them. If there's a reason, I'm gonna find out. This is what we're gonna use to try to seal the screw heads. I don't know why people wouldn't use them. I'm gonna give it a shot. I probably also should have piloted the holes before the butyl tape, but here we are. So my drill bit is now full of butyl tape. That's hot. So that's cool. Just gonna mark all the holes and then I'll pull it back off. Hopefully I don't have to redo the butyl tape. So from there it's pretty easy to get the rest of the windows installed. For the curbside window where I drilled the drain holes, I accidentally installed it upside down with the drain holes on top. I noticed it a few days later while we were camping, and when we got back I tried to take it out and flip it, but it turns out butyl tape is actually pretty good glue, and it's a couple months after that now and I still haven't figured out how to get that window out of there without hurting the PMF or the window frame. If you know of an easy way to get that window out of there, let me know. So the next mistake was the door. It turns out I didn't account for the thickness of the flooring, and that made the door half an inch too tall. So the threshold of the door is sitting up on that engineered hardwood now. The only way to fix this easily is to trim the wall and let the door sit half an inch higher. This isn't ideal because that top edge is now no longer sealed with PMF, but I did paint it and I think the butyl tape will seal just fine so water won't get in there. And there actually are a lot of PMF trailers where none of those edges are sealed at all and they seem to do fine. Okay, it's time to put the hatch on, so we're gonna weigh it. So we're gonna weigh me first and then I'm gonna carry it. 185.2.
239.2.
185 to 239.
56 pounds?
I don't know, I'll have to do the math.
Okay.
But I can't while I'm holding this.
Okay. Smells like paint. Looks like you're good over here.
Okay, we're there.
She stays?
Stays.
Oh.
No, do those screw heads hit?
These hit here?
Yeah.
No.
Sick, yo.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hitting? Amazing.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
So, our door swings this way, right? Obviously, instead of outward that way. And our fenders are right here. So we painted the door black and we Taylor, painted the door black and then the fenders too. So we didn't want the paint to chip basically. So we're trying to come up with a way where like if this is open at full swing, then it doesn't chip the paint and ruin anything. So right now we just have some felt like furniture tabs on there, but we might put like a little swing chain or something a little bit more permanent like a corner guard on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my contribution to the trailer.
There you go.
I cleaned the windows.
Are you gonna do the inside too?
Yeah, actually, I have these cute stars that we're gonna hang up in there. So it's like a Christmas tree kind of, you know? It's exciting. That's gonna be the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so both the hinge, the top half of the hinge, and the door take this like RV trim insert rubber stuff. And it's just like this roll of rubber that fits over the screw heads. So you just slide that in over the screws and it supposedly keeps the water out. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's probably gonna be too hard to push, so we'll just have to like kind of force it in there a little bit. And then this bottom one, you could attach it with screws on the top side between the door here, which I think is ideal, but it just didn't work out for me in this situation. So I used the metal roofing screws with the EPDM gaskets on here too. So hopefully those screws are sealed, and the butyl tape has the hinge sealed there, and there's butyl tape behind this thing, and then this covers that. And the only thing we have left to work with is the end cap here to make sure that's sealed. I don't know how that's going to work out yet. We'll have to figure something out. So I kind of just aim the bottom in and tuck it in, and then push the top down, and then it kind of just goes right in and sits where it wants to sit. Pretty easy. So I got this weather stripping in here. It looks like a B. It's like two separate little holes. On the outside edge here, I think it was like 20 bucks, 25 bucks on Amazon for these two big rolls. So I'm gonna put 2 layers because I have enough. And then hopefully the door actually still closes after, but I did go up into the hinge a little bit, hoping that would help seal the side of the hinge a little bit. So the door is probably gonna be pretty tight, so we'll see how long this actually lasts. All right, let's see if it'll close without breaking anything. It doesn't look great, does it? I mean, the seal on the rest of the door looks great, but it did grab this, so this may not last right here, but maybe we'll have to figure out something else for the top. The seal on the rest of it, however, is tight. This is a really nice looking seal. Like I'm confident in that. I just have to build my latches now. The latches on the hatch, I went with some adjustable clamps from Amazon that I modified by welding some 1-inch steel strap to the hook side and then attaching that to the hatch. Then once the clamp side is installed in the box, the clamping pressure can be adjusted to make sure that we have the right amount of squeeze on the seal. So this was the last day before we had to leave, and we were just running out of time, so my dad was also helping at this point. And he was able to get the shore power outlet installed along with the taillights and a lot of the wiring for the taillights. And another thing he did that I forgot to take pictures of was make some quick PVC prop rods for the hatch so that we had something mildly safe to hold the hatch up for our trip. I think there's a clip of it later on, you'll see it. So finally, 10 o'clock at night before we needed to leave, we finally were able to roll it out of the shop, and it's ready to be packed for the morning. Wow.
Wow.
So much work. Come on, Amazon in China.
Oh, lights are on.
Since this was actually our first time having it on the road, our test drive turned out to be the 500-mile trip to our first campground. We're pretty lucky that balance seemed to have worked out, and we had 0 towing issues on that whole 1,000-mile trip. Our first camping spot, we drove 10 hours from Sacramento. We're at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, just north of San Diego, for the Tiny House Expo on Saturday, tomorrow. And then we're gonna go up to Silverwood Lake, I think, but they have such giant campers here, and looking at the camper in the shop, it seemed reasonably sized, and it is freaking tiny here compared to everything. It's so small. There was one smaller though. There's a guy over there with a little one he put on the back of his bicycle. What's for dinner?
A sandwich.
Sandwich?
You have warm pizza.
It was warm, yeah. Didn't have time to make curtains, so we taped curtains up. Got curtains taped in, just pillowcases. And there's a cardboard on the front window from when we were driving. We got a heater. We do have electrical hookup. And we got chairs on our sandy beach. Goddamn this speaker. Gigantic trailers. There's actually a school bus right there. Bus, trailer. A little bit smaller. And then our tiny trailer. So yeah, this is the Del Mar Fairgrounds just north of San Diego. It was actually a really cool spot, and I would go back even though it's pretty much just a parking lot. There's a lot to do in close proximity. You can totally walk to the beach right from there. We were there for the Tiny Living Expo. Specifically, we wanted to look at buses, school buses, and motor coaches. We got to look at a lot of vans and buses and talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, it looks like it. So maybe that's what
So we had a good time there, and then in the evening we headed away from the coast up to Silverwood Lake, where we had 2 nights planned. On Sunday we went for a nice run where I destroyed my already injured knee. I'm almost over that. Hope to be running again soon. So overall the trailer worked out great. Just as good as we can expect it to work out, and we had almost no problems. I'd say the only thing we're actually surprised about was the amount of condensation that built up inside the trailer. I guess we need to open the window more than we have been. Another thing is we're also pretty happy without the cabinets installed, and I don't really feel a need to build them anytime soon. We were able to get everything done without the cabinets, and it was nice being able to see all the way into the camper with the hatch open. But it would also be cool to be able to open the hatch and not have all the warm air come out. Or I see why people build the cabinets for sure, but it's not 100% necessary. I think if we just got some like Tupperware totes and stuff to organize a bit better, we'd be totally fine without the cabinets. So for the next videos, I'd like to probably go over total build costs, maybe get the trailer weighed. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see on it. I do have a cost spreadsheet that I'll link in the description if you want to see that. Also, we picked up a few project cars that I'm super excited about. We got a pair of MGBs for my favorite price, free, and a 1930 Model A that's pretty original. We have plans for all these cars, and I'd like to get to the point where we could do road trips in them, so if that's something you're interested in, look forward to that too. So yeah, hit subscribe, follow on Instagram. Thank you for watching. Alright, just picked up 2 of 2. Just got some barnacles. Should be a nice little cleanup. We got the hard top on there. No tail lights. This one is a 75.